All right, let's jump right in. Welcome to The Explainer, where we're going to instantly upgrade your communication by mastering what is, without a doubt, the ultimate grammatical tool, conjunctions. Whether you're firing off a quick Slack message to a colleague, drafting up a major project proposal, or honestly, just trying to sound a bit more put together in your day-to-day writing, knowing exactly how to connect your thoughts is absolutely essential. So today, we are going to break down exactly how to do that.
Take a look at this. Compare these choppy, rigid sentences to a smooth, connected thought. I like apples. I like bananas. I don't like grapes. I mean, it literally sounds like a robot learning to speak, right? But with just a couple of tiny words, we transform the whole thing into I like apples and bananas, but I don't like grapes. Without conjunctions, we're basically stuck communicating in these really short, disconnected bursts.
Here's the game plan for leveling up your writing today. First, we'll talk about the grammar glue. Then, level 1, meeting the fanboys. Next, level 2, connecting unequal parts. And finally, level 3, the advanced pairs. Let's get to it.
Starting off with section 1, the grammar glue, building our foundation.
So when we talk about conjunctions, I really don't want you thinking about boring, abstract grammar rules you had to memorize in school. Think of them as the literal glue holding the English language together. By definition, they're just connecting words. Their entire job is simply to join other words, phrases, or short sentences so your reader can effortlessly follow your train of thought. Once you start viewing them as actual tools for connection rather than just grammar vocabulary, they become incredibly powerful.
Moving right along to Section 2, Level 1, Meet the FANBOYS. We are mastering coordinating conjunctions here.
Okay, so there are 7 really common coordinating conjunctions. And if you look at them, their first letters conveniently spell out the acronym FANBOYS. That's for, and, nor, but, or, yet, and so. And every single one has a very specific job. Like for explains the reason, sort of like the word because, as in I drank some water for I was thirsty. And just adds things together, like buying a shirt and some shoes. Nor adds negative things, like someone who doesn't eat meat, nor does he like fish. We use but for a contrast, or for a choice, yet for a surprising contrast, like the weather was freezing, yet we went swimming, and so to show a result. These guys are the fundamental building blocks of fluent writing.
Now, here's the absolute golden rule for commas when you're using these fanboys. If you use one of them to join 2 complete sentences, and by complete, I mean both sides could totally stand on their own with a period, you have to put a comma before the conjunction. She loves to read is a complete sentence. She goes to the library every week is a complete sentence. Since we're joining them with and, we desperately need that comma. But check out the second example. She loves to read and write. The word write is definitely not a complete sentence on its own, so no comma needed. It really is that simple.
All right, on to Section 3, Level 2, connecting unequal parts. This is where we get into subordinating conjunctions. You can think of subordinating conjunctions as a kind of heavy-duty superglue. What they do is take a complete sentence, which grammar nerds love to call an independent clause, and they attach an incomplete thought, or a dependent clause, right to it. This lets you add a ton of vital context to your main point without accidentally creating some massive, confusing run-on sentence.
These are the words that let you express those really complex ideas. You can show cause and reason with words like because or since. You can establish a clear timeline using when, before, or until, like I'll call you when I get home. You can set strict conditions with if or unless, as in you can't go out unless you finish your work. Or you can highlight a contrast using although or whereas. Dropping these into your writing takes basic, flat updates and turns them into highly nuanced professional communication.
And the comma rule for these subordinating conjunctions? It's basically a math formula. It depends entirely on where the conjunction lives in your sentence. If it sits smack in the middle, like we stayed inside because it was raining, boom, no comma. The flow is completely unbroken. But if you flip that sentence around and put the conjunction right at the very beginning, you absolutely must use a comma after that dependent, incomplete thought. Because it was raining, comma, we stayed inside. If you can just visualize that flip, you will instantly avoid one of the most common punctuation errors we see in professional writing.
So you've got the masking tape from Level 1, you've got the super glue from Level 2, but are you ready to break out the industrial welding? Because it's time to step up to the advanced stage.
Section 4, Level 3, the advanced pairs. Meet the correlative conjunctions.
Now, what's super interesting about these pairs is that they don't just connect things, they put a massive spotlight on the relationship between them. If you want to emphasize that 2 distinct things are both true, you use both and, like, she is both intelligent and hardworking.
If you're shutting down two options, it's neither nor, as in he is neither wealthy nor famous. And for dramatic effect, we have the heavy hitter, not only, but also. He not only finished the report, but also prepared the presentation. These pairs give your sentences this incredible sense of rhythm and balance.
But wait, there is a catch here. This advanced level comes with a very strict rule, the rule of parallel structure. All this means is that both sides of your grammatical equation have to be a perfect match. The word or phrase that comes right after the first half of your conjunction pair has to take the exact same grammatical form as the stuff coming after the second half. If they don't match, the whole sentence basically just collapses on itself.
Let's look at this in action, because the error becomes painfully obvious when you stack them up like this. Look at the top one. He is not only a great manager, but also paints well. A great manager is a noun phrase, but paints well is an active verb phrase. It feels clunky, right? It's totally lopsided. You literally cannot mix a noun phrase with a verb phrase when you're using these correlative pairs. Now look at the correct version underneath it. He is not only a great manager, but also a talented painter. Noun perfectly balanced with noun. That is parallel structure in action, and it sounds so much better.
The exact same thing applies to verbs. They need to be perfectly balanced too. In the incorrect example, you must either clean your room or to wash the dishes. We're mixing a base verb, clean, with an infinitive verb, to wash. To fix it, if you start with a base verb, like clean, after the word either, you have to follow up the second half of the pair with another base verb. So you must either clean your room or wash the dishes is grammatically pristine. Base matching base.
Okay, one last rule to truly master this level, and it is highly specific. It's all about subject-verb agreement. When you've got two completely different subjects joined by either or neither nor, you might be wondering, well, which subject decides if the verb is singular or plural? The answer is actually just based on geography. The verb always agrees with the subject that is physically closer to it in the sentence.
Check out this little workplace example to see what I mean. In the first sentence, neither the employees nor the manager was happy. Since manager is singular and is physically sitting right next to the verb, we use the singular was. But look what happens when we literally just swap their places. Neither the manager nor the employees were happy. Notice how the verb magically changes from was to were, simply because the plural employees now sits closest to it. It is a really subtle trick, but getting it right proves you are an absolute master of the grammar glue. So, to wrap up this explainer, I'm going to leave you with a quick challenge. The very next time you sit down to fire off an email, write a report, or draft an essay, take a hard look at your sentences. Ask yourself, are you stuck in that choppy, robotic style? Or are you using the right level of glue to make your point truly stick? Are you using your FANBOYS correctly? Have you leveled up to those complex, subordinating conjunctions? Or are you ready to deploy a perfectly parallel advanced pair? Because upgrading your connections is, for sure, the fastest way to upgrade your impact. Keep practicing, keep connecting, and we'll see you in the next explainer.